IVT has asked if it's possible to record the meeting, and so I am doing that, and then I will work on sending a link out to it after the fact. Full disclosure, it's not something that I do very often. I'm not sure I've ever done it, so but we're happy to try doing it, but I wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
So thank you for IVT. Thank you all for making yourselves available today to use some of this time. We do have some folks, working on Section 16, but we did think that this was an opportune time to be able to go through the Deadhead seating upgrade process. So DJ, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just a short introduction of who you are for the group, that would be great. I have taken the liberty of sharing your executive council positions and names with DJ just for familiarity, but I'll leave it there.
Very good. Well, here, start with introduction. Yeah. So, hey, everybody. My name is DG Glore. I'm a longtime product manager, CSA, or a CSA mobile product. Pretty excited to be here today, honestly, because in my 25 years, it's very much been in, like in the CSA space, customer service agent, not so much in the crew. So this is kind of fun. Good to meet you folks.
Thanks, DJ. Good to meet you too.
And Sherry, I'm happy. Maybe I can share a little bit about what we're doing, and that sound good? Okay.
Please do.
I'm gonna try to. Sure. No, good. I'm going to try to give you guys a bit of a visual. Normally, when I'm demoing products, it's a lot of fun to go over, because some of the things we do is big and colorful. And in this case, though, there's a lot of back-end stuff happening, a lot of back-end automation. So what I'll just be sharing with you today is text. I'll kind of walk through that a little bit. And then, in fact, we're just going to go right. This is directly to my requirements document. So over the past, this is 14 months in the making now. My leaders came to me and asked me and my teams to automate our priority list, automate the process and what the agent does, between when they get to the gate and all the way up until D10, just making sure to get people into the into the seats.
Once it's done recording, we'll.
And one very important part of this is our deadhead guests.
Yeah.
Our deadhead guests. As I'm talking through this, I would ask the group to think about what we have today. I understand there's this union agreement in place, and that's at D45. Our captains and our first officers will be upgraded to either premium or first class. Today, that's up to an agent to just remember that. That's up to an agent to look at the time and say, oh, okay, it's 45 minutes prior to departure. Let me look at my first class, seat map. Let me look at my premium class seat map, and let me see if I can put our deadhead guests into first or premium. It's very manual. It's very human. This is replacing that and doing it, automatically, auto magically at D45 and right at D45. So the way this will work, there's a whole lot that our automation is doing. I'm just going to kind of cover the deadhead section. The first thing we're doing in terms of first class at D45, we're going to take a look at the revenue guests. If there are any guests that actually booked a first class ticket and paid for it. There are any number of scenarios why they would not be able to get a seat at check-in. The first thing we do is make sure those revenue guests are accommodated, make sure they have a seat. Next on the list, anybody that's flown in Alaska, you might be familiar with that waiting for upgrade list. That list is filled with, gold members, gold 75 guests that they are entitled to a first class seat if a seat becomes available. Right after that, and immediately after that, is where we reach our deadhead guests. So, and this is where I'll direct your attention to some of this pretty text here, if you would. So in this case, we're talking to our Horizon group, right? So if we have a QX metal aircraft, our automation is gonna take a look at this point, and we're gonna say, hey, do we have any guests with the last name QXCA or QXFO, Horizon captains, Horizon first officers? If so, is there any first class? Is there premium class? What's going on with this flight? And the first thing we're gonna do is look at first class. If we have first class available, we're gonna look back at these names and go, okay, well, we're going to upgrade the captains first. The captain is going to get the seat. If there is more than one captain, we're going to see which captain has a higher seniority date, and that captain will get first class. And then we'll proceed on to the first officers. We'll then look at premium class. Is premium class available? Same process, captains first, first officers second. In a nutshell, that's really it. Oh, I'll just say lastly, then we proceed down to some of our other, confirmed non-revs or other company business travel, and we'll start to look at first class for them, but we'll be looking at our deadhead guests first.
One thing I would add, and I think this is in the settlement, is that where it talks about seniority, we agreed that for purposes of the settlement and for purposes of this process, that is the pilot's company seniority date. So I do want to make sure that that clarification is made.
Okay.
I can't do anything else on my computer while this is recording.
And maybe you'll jump into this. Sorry, DJ, I appreciate that explanation. And maybe you'll jump into this and more so on your side, Chetty. We discussed it bi-weekly rollout dates or testing dates. Is that
like the website ones?
Are those dates still holding? I believe they were late February.
Oh, the APA one?
Yeah. It's mostly the hours.
I can take that one. Let me actually I want to make sure I get the dates right. So if you'll give me a second.
Oh.
Actually, I'm going to go right to the article. I have it right here. Bear with me a second.
And DJ, one other question. Are you able to share that document you just showed
It
us?
didn't help,
with
but it
us?
kind of feels like this week kind of went
Jenny,
by
you want
fast.
to take that?
Yes, we can share that.
Right. Yeah.
That piece of it that applies to the Deadhead upgrades. Yes, we can share that.
It's been exhausting as usual.
Guys, this is an article we have on AG right now. These, to answer your question, these dates still hold true. This coming Monday. We're going to be in Palm Springs in person doing some testing of this process on February 3rd. We then plan on making the long 98-mile drive over to Orange County Airport to do the same testing on the 11th, Chicago and Newark. And then our aim is to have a production release, all stations, February 25th. Let me add a little bit more what that means. There are still some markets we're not going to run this on. One is any international flight. We're just not yet prepared to handle some of the document verification and other things that come along with during that priority list. And then also through flights. There's a lot of, as you folks may know, there's a lot of nuance through flights, especially that milk run. We're not yet equipped to handle that. So when I say system-wide, that's system-wide minus through flights plus international.
International includes Canada, Mexico.
I just like to see who I'm talking to.
Correct.
Can you, maybe a question for you, remind me what a through flight is?
It means you have a flight number with an intermediate stop
I
between
see,
two planes.
same flight.
Correct.
For us, it gets very complicating when you think of the milk run, that goes from Seattle to Ketchikan to Juneau to Wrangell to Petersburg to Anchorage. You might have a deadheading crew member going from Seattle to, let's say, Petersburg towards the end of the
It's
line.
a beautiful 737
between like Juneau,
hanging from the
Ketchikan, and
ceiling.
Juneau. Again, we just haven't really been able to handle that one just yet.
Yeah, and I assume for like the first flight of
Ugh.
the through flight would be like, but for the intermediary
walking.
stops, is that
As you enter the Alaska Airlines atrium
Well, so
entrance.
it won't do anything today, but yeah, that might be like when we start to handle through flights, that could be the first iteration. I think we'll handle the first segment of it.
You see the tail going across the
So how would it work
ice
on
occasionally?
international and through then? You wouldn't have the automated system handling
We're going to a fucking
upgrades. You would
company
have the
today,
gate agents doing it like they're doing now.
They're a major sponsor,
Exactly
man.
what we're doing today. We're the
You know how much
agents
money that
do it,
costs?
Or, I also hear from
Millions
members that
and
they
millions of
walk up to
dollars.
agents around them and
Yeah,
ask,
you
if
can't
they've
get a
been
discount
upgraded
on
yet.
a fucking jersey.
When I was doing marketing, I had a local State Farm agency
I don't think we have any
want to
through flights
do
right now.
at a college basketball for
Verizon,
Washington
yeah.
State University.
Yeah, I don't
The
think we
basketball hoops, that
That's right.
foam
Yeah. Forgive me, I forget. Yeah, this is
roller,
Verizon.
so when
This is all
players
Alaska,
smack into
yeah.
it, they don't smack in.
Yeah.
Just that alone was 20 grand for the season. Just to have that foam roller with State Farm written on it was 20 grand.
I don't know
That's it for me.
My
Oh,
question
sorry,
was,
no.
Yeah, imagine
is
hanging
there gonna
in
be a
front
beta
the
of this
Asian
that
yourself.
this team is
Alaska
going to be able
Airlines
to
shit
look at and
everywhere, yeah.
experiment
They
with,
probably pay
try to
them
vet it
this
for errors or problems?
Yeah, it's usually like you
Well,
get,
happy to, like,
when it's
communicate some of
naming
the
rights
results
like that
of
on something,
Palm
it's
Springs
usually like a
and,
5 or 6 to 10
Orange County and
years.
Chicago.
Oh, I see.
Because the arena doesn't
I don't
want
know
to
how much
change
deadhead
out that
flying happens in those cities, but
lettering.
assuming we have some deadhead guest
I
upgrade,
guess
happy
that
to
makes
share
sense
those.
because they do the same thing at Seahawks Stadium, aka Lumen Field, aka CenturyLink Field,
Yeah. But it's like that for like 10 years.
aka Quest Field.
And then you can re-up or
Yeah,
not.
So I guess this is a
But they don't wanna
question
change
for
out that
Chris.
lettering
We're
and
able
crap,
to
'cause that's
send one
expensive.
of our IBT
Yeah, and then
technical
safe
guys
code,
along with DJ down to
which isn't safe code.
Palm Springs, Orange County, just to take a look at it while it's happening in real time. Is that an issue with anyone?
Not an issue with me at all. Yeah, anybody.
Yep, there used to be a price sheet for all of that.
I would.
This is
suggest
all the
doing a little
inventory
bit of research
available.
first to make sure there's number one
You can be
deadhead
on the-
guest, and then number two.
You can be on the
there's still seats
boards.
open, 'cause if you don't have both of
You can
those,
be one of the
can send
logos
your
on the
person down there
ice.
and they may not actually see it work for your use case.
We'll throw in 10 extras
But I guess
tickets
that
or a
takes me back
box
to my
if you
original
put
question.
in.
Is there a way to run this software in a test environment, not actual flights, but flights that would contain the triggers.
Kick out your
to make it
sponsorships.
do what
I'd
it's
love to
supposed
know at the
do.
bottom line,
Forgive
sponsorship,
me, I
that
missed
line
the test
item, what that
environment part.
costs.
Yeah,
Because
we've
I
actually already
guarantee you
done
that's
that several
$100 million
times. I'm sure we
right
could run
there.
it for a member
Not
or
on
team
their
too, if you
10K
want.
or whatever it's called.
That might be what we need to do, that way,
It's
we
called
can have
10K,
eyes
but I
on
don't
it.
know.
Yep.
I'd sure love to know it if it
Absolutely.
was. Because
Can,
Probably a lot.
can you
between
remind
all
me,
the
DJ, and I'm
stadiums,
sorry, you may have already said this, but
now do your
where are the
advertising down in
issues that
California
affect
for all
having
those.
this automated system for an
Your
international
IDs.
Yep.
flight?
And that damn sock
Part of
puppet
it is I think
puppet
we
that
still don't
used
know
to be in
what
one
we
of the
don't know.
commercials.
I know when we
Plus the
into some of
airtime,
our
the agency that
like
put it
initial
together.
testing, when we go out and try to just like manually clear guests
Because
from
I'm
our
like,
priority list,
fuck, you're
we'll get
doing
responses
the
like,
right
you know,
thing.
needs documentation,
And you have
you know,
so
needs
much money
visa,
to do the
things
right
like
thing.
that. And then
You do
Sabre,
that.
which is our back-end
But then
system,
at the
that'll
same
deny
time, that is
the
the
seat.
type of
So
shit
there's just a
that
lot
drives
we
the
need to
stock
figure
prices
out a
that
way
we're
to
fucking
handle before
benefiting
we can just
from
turn
right
on
now,
for
so.
international flights.
Like,
I suppose we could
I
turn
mean,
it on and
probably
it just
more
wouldn't
benefit
work.
out of it
That's a
just doing the right
possibility,
thing
but
for
we
our
just a
pilot.
lot to learn still.
It's not.
So
It's
you
not a
turn it
total
on,
loss that they're really
and it
gonna
would go through the checks, and then it would remove people
It's just
Wow.
irritating
because they
when
don't
they're
have.
It'd be awesome if they
Sorry,
hired an
I'm still
agency
not
that
following.
actually did some good
Slower and
marketing
in
for
very
them.
small words.
Not sock
Sure, yeah,
puppet.
yeah. Let's see. Let me think of a
Well,
specific
they
use
have an
case. There are
agency,
Yeah,
use
just
cases
right
out there.
The other one. No, I know it is. They have an agency, but the agency sucks.
It seems like maybe if you looked at the flow.
No, we've had horrible commercials.
We think so, but clearly that shit's working.
Yeah.
Most people
Yeah,
that like,
so there you go.
man, they ask like, who do you work for?
So at what
Horizon,
point
like,
in
you
this
know, like
process
Alaska
would a
Airlines.
guy on an
You know, like,
or a girl on
I
an
love
international
Alaska.
flight
I'm
get
like,
kicked
you're
out?
retarded.
You are retarded.
As well, so I
Um,
don't think we'd kick anybody out. We
That's
wouldn't
like-
remove
That's
anybody
Look-
from
like
the
saying
list. But consider this use case for just a
go
second.
to,
Let's say we have a
Andy
revenue
Ralph for
guest.
steak.
They somehow end up on the
I mean,
priority
it's-
list, but their
it's
passport has not yet been
serviceable.
verified.
Look at
Hasn't been
Delta, look
verified
at
by the
United
app, hasn't
commercials,
been
and then look
verified
at
by the
our.
agents.
Hi, I'm
Information goes to
Loader
process that
Fader.
This is like all
Our
business.
source,
They're like,
Sabre,
Yeah.
directly,
we
will
are
respond
that's
with
their-
that
They
needs
go
to
in
be
all
done.
on that.
We call
And they
that
pick up the people who
needs
want to
to
be
be
business but
present
can't really
verified.
afford it, but they're
So
going to put it
automation would
because
stop at that
I'm,
point.
I
With
fly
the
Delta
automation
because
can't
I'm.
proceed. We're
I
never
think
gonna
I'm
clear
elite,
out
right?
a-
It's all
we're gonna
that
clear somebody
appearance
that
shit.
needs to be- and we
Yeah.
haven't cleared the person at the top. So it's really a matter of figuring out how to handle
Yeah.
things like
All the gays on our planes. Come
At
on.
what point would the passport get clear?
Oh look, the most
When you
ruined
check
economy,
in,
and
when
then
you're
they show
boarding,
you a
how does that
fucking.
work?
But,
Have you
I
noticed?
think
That's
about
not
half
even
of our
economy,
guests today. I
man.
just
That's
heard a
for the
recent number
first
about
class
this. Half
seats
of our
when
guests,
they
they're able to do it in the app,
We
in
have
the
the
Alaska
most
mobile
ruined
app when they
economy,
check in.
and they pan that
The,
picture
I
of
think it's called
people's feet.
AirWatch. They actually
That's
scan
first
their
class if
passport
they're
with their
zooming
phone.
by.
But
They
then
don't
the
tell
other
you
half, we have
Yeah.
that happened
And they didn't
check in at the
expressly
lobby.
say that the
And before
video
we
on
went
the
to security.
screen was of
They're
economy.
important to
They
say
make
though,
it
there are
look
also
really
guests
good.
connecting
Yeah.
in from other airlines, and many times that happens at the gate too. So it's kind of everywhere.
I see.
DJ, I got a question for you, and then I got one that I think might apply to the Go team there. What are the abilities for the CSA to override this system? Is there a possibility for that to happen?
7 minutes left.
Is this strictly automated? Like, what's that look like?
So the agents, I mean, they need to be empowered to do whatever they need with that priority list. They don't have the ability to stop the automation, but one thing they could do ahead of time is like they could block seats in the seat map. They could go ahead and just like clear everybody before the automation does. Those would be the only examples I can think of.
So in that scenario, then DJ, CSA agent
You
would
get
have
white
the
girl
ability to
wasted at
block
hockey games?
seats up in first or premium class prior
White
to
girl
D4
wasted?
Yeah.
They do.
Is that like when you drink one claw and you're trashed?
Well, or a beer.
Oh, I haven't had anything to
For the
drink.
Go team training for
At all?
CSAs,
I haven't had anything to drink
what
since
does this
Nashville.
look like? Is
Wow.
this kind of like, hey,
I have not
heads
had
up
one
to
sip
these
alcohol.
stations, it's being tested, and then once it's fully operational, it'll be
Why would I care?
automatic, you don't have to do anything? Is that what that
Drink.
looks like? Or do you
Like
know?
I think I have this weird like
I
complex
think
now.
just
when I
high
drink-
level
when
summary,
I have a
Henry,
beer
that's
on me, I'm
accurate,
like,
but I will, we'll work on
Drink all
getting
you want, I don't
more,
care.
Specific
Dude,
info
I have
for you.
seen you drunk as shit,
But
so
I mean,
I'm fine.
Yeah, I don't
I think
do
I
that
confidently
anymore.
say, we are
Do whatever you wanna do,
strongly
man. I'm
encouraging and
I definitely
recommending
don't do
this
that
run
national shit anymore.
automatically.
I-
We need the agents to trust the process, trust the system, and
That
not,
was-
even
I
though the
remember how
capability
terrible
exists,
I
because
felt every
again,
day when
they
I
need
was
to be able to
drinking
do
like
what
that.
they need to do.
I mean, I didn't drink like that
we-
every day. It was
I
mostly
would be
just
shocked to
inside,
hear that
but-
we're doing anything other than saying, let this process run.
I remember getting in the
Yeah,
car
and
with
I'm not-
Joel
I'm just looking down the road.
In
is that
Nashville.
was, part of the contention is
Is
that
it Joel?
CSAs
Had to have been
were
Joel.
trained, however it might be.
And we were waiting for you to
There was a
come
manual
out,
process
and we
here
were just
that's
sitting in the
kind
car in the parking lot of the
muddying
rental
the
car
water,
waiting to go to the
so
airport,
to
and you and
speak.
I
So
were
to
just
have
sitting
an
there. It
automated
was like,
process that was
I
kind of
felt like
hey, this is great,
shit.
this is good movement, DJ
And
the
then
team
you
are
came
great
out
for
and you
putting
went
this
right
together.
across the street to the
Now you got it on the
restaurant
CSA
to get up,
to
pick me up.
genius
I was like,
again,
Dude,
muddy the
I
water.
like-
That's kind of
Because when I'm that kind of
concern, but,
hungover, I like.
we would
There's
want
a-
the process to
I mean,
work
I can
automatically
ride it
as
out,
well.
and it's like I get the Sunday scaries like.
Or
really
I guess
fucking
another
bad,
question
Yeah.
would be
when I
any
drink like that,
and all changes to the
which is why I try
gate
not to
agent
anymore.
manuals regarding this
And so-
software. I would have much
I
appreciated.
mean, I can ride it
receiving
out,
that.
not having to do much or go anywhere is fine.
Understood.
But in that situation, I was like, there's only one choice. But then the problem was, I started feeling good again, and I'm like, ah.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'll just have another.
Maybe
another-
like a
another-
follow-on
Yeah.
to Henry's question about the manual
Too far.
interaction. If the system automatically makes assignments, can a gate agent go in after the fact and, I don't know, fix an error or make a change, or is it locked in?
What's that video? I think I saw it on Facebook this
Definitely
morning. It
not
was like,
locked in. No, the agent always needs the ability to modify that priority list for any number of use cases that come about, so they can get that played out.
and then it's a shot of the parents in the living room, like wide awake, listening to this.
If crew is supposed to be deadheaded, DJ, that crew, it's D45, they're assigned seats. That
It was-
crew is
it was like all of like
assigned for whatever
10,
reason.
15-second video, but it was hilarious.
Is that now a manual process, or does the system recognize it? Does the system recognize that that crew is no longer deadheaded?
Let me make sure I understand the question. So
4
at
minutes
D45,
left.
let's say we take a
Yes,
deadhead
quick
captain,
email.
put them into first class. It's now, let's say D43, and they've been reassigned to fly on a different flight.
Yeah, they're not on that deadhead. They've fatigued out. Let's just say, I don't know if you're familiar, but they could fatigue out, and now they've got to stay there for the night or whatever. They're not. Does that now automatically open up that seat? Does the CSA have now? Is that them going in and opening that seat?
Yeah, somebody would need to cancel that reservation or rebook that reservation, and now that first class seat is open for the agent to process. Automation would not run again.
Okay, thank you.
I'm so fucking old, I don't go anywhere without a bag of rescue drills.
What are you coding this in? Is this C++,
Tylenol, ibuprofen,
JavaScript,
fucking
Rust?
comes in my
What are you doing, DJ?
You pass out. We just grab
Well, I
baggie
have
and
a whole
start
other,
shoving it in your mouth.
how much time do we have?
Ian, don't go towards the light, man. Chew these pills. Go,
If
bud.
you don't, I don't.
Somebody
this
got
will just
beer
take a
poured
sec.
down
I
his
can pull
throat.
up a visual
Well, mostly
to give
just
you an
like
idea
when I'm not
of
at
what
home,
this is.
it's like,
Well, now you're talking
flying
about
would be
language.
the same thing.
Yeah.
I fucking can't stand
Yeah,
it.
I'm not gonna. So I'm not an engineer myself. I'm not gonna be able to speak to all the languages that are used. But here's kind of what we've built. So one of my teams here built this airport automation service. This actually does a whole lot. Like I said, I mean, deadheading crew is just one small piece. What it does is it takes the priority list, the entire priority list at whatever time we tell it, and it passes it over to this very intelligent system right over here called the seat optimization engine. It's actually our data science team that built this, and this is really doing a whole lot of things, doing a whole lot of legwork. It's going out to all these different places, middleware, some of our e-com services, seat service, our DAP, which is the digital airline platform, and it's getting a bunch of information. And it's based on this information, based on the seat map, based on a million different things. Even Alaska listens, by the way. What sort of seats do people like? What are their seat preferences? It then takes that same priority list that we just gave it, and it returns it back to us with seat recommendations for these guests based on their guest type, and then airport automation will assign those up.
Very cool. Did you want to ask him about going to watching on a test?
Yeah, I was gonna.
God damn it, I did it.
Yeah. So what we were just
Use it all the time.
talking about
I
there
wear a
is
lot of gray.
scheduling maybe a time where we could see the
Walk
beta
out to
test, the testing environment.
you're wearing the
DJ, I don't know,
sweatshirt, aren't
Jenny,
you?
If you want to kind of just set that up between the parties,
Sure.
next few weeks or whatever works for the people that can be there. But
Watched it for the first time. like a week
DJ,
ago.
just looking at this map and what you've shown us, if it helps, I can write you a recommendation to get paid a little bit more than you currently are. But if this works, we appreciate it.
That's very kind. Alaska actually pays me quite well. I love it here. 25 years. I love it. Yep.
All right, cool.
Thank you, though.
Recommendation wouldn't do you any good, but okay.
He's required to say that as a
There you go.
Right, exactly.
All right.
So, yeah.
There you go.
All Okay, well, we appreciate your time. I think that's it for as far as questions we have at this moment. But again, Chetty, if you're going to take charge and lead that of setting that next one up for the testing environment, would be very helpful, and we'd appreciate that.
All right, I'll do that.
All right. Thank you, DJ. We appreciate your time. Yeah, thanks for explaining that all through it, walking it through with us. We appreciate it.
I like the collar on these hoodies. It's not like
All right.
choking you.
Thanks, everybody. Okay,
All right,
bye-bye.
thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Holy shit.